What if some of the most common retirement advice is actually hurting you more than helping? And that's the idea that you should stay busy as possible. You should fill your calendar. You should volunteer in all hours. Keep moving. Keep proving you have some purpose and you're useful. However, some new Scandinavian research suggests that this approach might actually be working against the very thing that people actually experience when they retire. And that is a quieter, clearer sense that daily life has become just easier. So, in this episode, I'm going to share with you that research and show you exactly how it applies to retirement today so you can avoid the common mistake that leaves a lot of people less satisfied than they actually expected. Speaking of being less satisfied, let me bring in my co-host Tony. Hey Tony, welcome to the show. We're
Shots
talking
fired.
about we're talking about the stay busy advice being wrong according to the Scandinavians.
Okay, the Scandinavian. So you're saying, you're asking, what if staying busy in retirement is wrong? Dan, can I remind you that we just did a show? I mean, was it even 2 weeks ago we did a show? The whole show is the opposite, how you need to stay active and busy and have a purpose in retirement.
Yes, that was the disenchantment phase. The
Yeah,
disenchantment phase, how to avoid it, is the risk of loneliness and depression. And we said in that show, you and I both, we said
yeah.
that you need to plan to stay connected and intentionally active,
Yeah, and
just
stay
like Grandpa
busy. Have
Bob,
a
right?
purpose,
Yeah.
stay busy, stay active. And my grandpa, but what about my grandpa Bob's advice? Now, he wasn't Scandinavian. He wasn't from Finland or Sweden or anything, but he was English, mostly English, and he said you got to keep going. You got to stay active. That was his secret, and he lived to 101, and 3 months before he passed away, he was camping.
Well, I'm not going to say that we were wrong 3 weeks ago. I think
Oh,
it was
okay,
3 weeks
okay.
ago.
Yeah, I hope not.
But what I'm going to say is that the Finnish and the Swedish studies, they take the other half of that picture. So the idea is once you've protected against that isolation factor, which was the disenchantment phase, because what's what you're worried about is being isolated and lonely.
Sure.
Um, but you don't want once you have that covered, you're not isolated.
But
You
isn't
don't
everyone in Finland isolated and lonely?
well, well, no. So I want to show you the study. And what they're
Okay.
saying is if you constantly fill every other hour to reduce, it's actually going to reduce the satisfaction of retirement. So I'll
Oh,
walk through both studies and
okay.
compare them to the
Sure.
American retirement
Yeah.
system.
I wish we had the
Um,
Finland song by Monty Python to play.
you want to sing it, Tony? Go for it.
No, no, no one wants
All
to
right.
hear that.
So the Finnish study, we'll start with them.
Yep.
Finland's got it all. I think that was the punchline in the Monty
Yeah,
Python
Finland's
song.
got it all: bony tricking and fishing, simply
Hmm.
watching TV.
So the Finnish study followed 3,543 people, public sector employees. They're all the same. They're all coming from the same situation work-wise, and they follow them through their transition into retirement, and they track the same people year after year. So I'll put the study up here in case anyone wants to read it themselves. There's the link. It's called the Changes in Life Satisfaction During the Transition to Retirement: Findings from the FRE I'm sorry, FIREA cohort study. So what they found, so I'll save you the having to read it. What they found was that uh, a lot of the a lot of people expected a big happiness boost when they retired, and what they found was that overall life satisfaction improved a little and then just held steady. But the the largest, most consistent change wasn't in how happy people felt or how interesting their lives felt. It
Hmm.
was something that the researchers called easiness.
Hmm.
And so they're saying that daily life simply felt less difficult, less rushing,
Ah.
fewer obligations, and they had more control.
Hmm.
So it wasn't a uh, joyful fireworks display. It was relief and easiness.
So don't fill every minute is the point I think that they were trying to make with that study, and I
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and just to, I didn't mean to misquote the lyrics. It's pony trekking or camping or just watching TV. Pony trekking or camping, not fishing, or just watching TV. So yeah,
Yeah, you could see, you can imagine the cohort in this study, like a bunch of retirees getting on ponies and just going across
pony
the country of
trekking.
Finland. Yes,
If we're in
um,
retirement or camping or just watching TV, it's the country for me. And as you say, Finland has it all.
they do. Apparently not though. So you know who? So it went instead of being like this big celebration environment, it was just like feeling relief, and those gains and that sense of ease was seen the largest for women, for people who weren't healthy
Mm.
before they retired, and for people living without a spouse. Those are the people that saw the easiness increase the most. And when I say easiness, that was one of the four things they looked at. They looked at interestingness, happiness, easiness, and togetherness. And easiness moved the most. Happiness and interestingness, and again, I'm not going to try and define those, but happiness and interestingness moved only a little at retirement, and togetherness barely moved at all. And that's an interesting one because togetherness is what we were talking in the last show is
Hmm.
having those social connections. And we both identified that simply leaving the workspace doesn't create new connections. In fact, it takes away a lot of the
It takes
connections.
away social interaction, and so many
Hmm.
people's identities are connected to their work, and you lose your identity, you lose that social connection. So I still stand by that's a critical piece that you need to address in retirement, even with these. But easing the daily easiness of daily life. Some people, I know people who we both know. Mitch, who used to be our show producer and editor, uh,
Hmm.
Mitch is so much happier now that he's not working in an office with people. He's working in his own workshop by himself all day long, and he loves it. So it's just, I think personality matters too. He's
It
never been
does.
happier, more peaceful, or in better shape.
Well, is it happy or is it easy? uh,
Yes, true. Easiness of his life is so much easier that he doesn't have to deal with me every day, Dan. And you
that's that
can,
you said it. Your words, not mine. Uh, so you're right though. In the study, Finnish cohort said that the average number of networks ties fell from 21 to 12.
sure, in half
So
basically, almost.
yeah, yeah. So most of that's coworkers. Now
Yep.
they keep the family and they keep their close friendships, and those stay relatively stable. But the social hole doesn't fill itself when you retire,
No.
and so we knew that. We talked about that, and what the report is saying is that despite their social network getting cut in half, they still reported that life felt easier, and so they lose those incidental contacts at work they experience less strain because they're not working, right?
Mhm.
So, but the key was you don't immediately replace every hour with new obligations.
Right.
So it's an opportunity for you to say, okay, I lost my friends or coworkers. Now I have to fill that gap or else I'm not going to be happy. No,
Right.
you're going to get this sense of everything is a lot easier, so you don't
Mhm.
need to fill it with new obligations. That's what this is saying. Now,
I guess I
what I
can
want to
see
do is
that.
I want to switch over to the Swedish data.
Oh, yes.
This one is a 4-year study of 1,123 people in health, aging, and retirement transitions. HEART thing in the acronym. You know, we love acronyms. Um, and they found that both volunteering and life satisfaction increased as people moved into retirement. So it's called the Swedish Heart Studies, helping out or helping yourself, volunteering and life satisfaction across the retirement transition. Here's the part though that made me want to talk about this. Higher levels of volunteering were followed by decreases in life satisfaction. So the higher your
Whoa.
volunteerism the lower your satisfaction went up after that.
What? Hmm.
hmm And
I don't know
they
about
found
that.
that the people that already had a higher life satisfaction, they were more likely to actually volunteer.
Hmm.
So what this is saying is that volunteering didn't lead to happiness or satisfaction. Being satisfied already led to more volunteering.
Hmm.
It's the opposite of what we kind of talked about a few weeks
It's the
ago,
exact opposite of everything I've ever heard.
right? Right? And so what the researchers were careful to say that to not treat do more volunteer work as a universal intervention, especially if
Hmm.
it's going to become excessive. So it we said a lot of people say go out and volunteer. You got to, as soon as you retire, you got to get out there and do stuff. Go out there, do it,
Yep.
and stay busy. Go do that. Make an impact. Have social, right? And this is saying the opposite. It's like, yeah, that may be good, but if it's excessive, it's going to destroy you, and you're going to be less satisfied. And the more you do,
Wow.
the less satisfied you're going to be. So it
Hmm.
goes against the stay busy principle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're disciplined, you can limit it to maybe 2 days a week. I don't think that's too excessive. But some people are like, I'm a volunteer at my church. I'm in there every day. Or, I mean, if you're doing something on the daily, that's a full time, you don't want it to be too intense, right?
You don't want to be burdened. It's like I quit my job so I didn't have to set an alarm clock. Now I'm
Oh, I
getting up
gotta
and
get
doing
up
these three
tomorrow at
volunteer.
6 a.m. to do the take care of the plants at the church, and then I
Mm-hmm.
gotta lead the
Mm-hmm.
clean the. I volunteered. I clean or yeah. I just yeah. It can be a burden. Yeah, I can
So,
see that.
so how do we rectify the fact that the previous show we talked about protecting against the disenchantment phase? And we said stay connected, have intentional before you retire. Have an intention of what you're going to do. I think that still is true. It still lands because loneliness and loss of structure are real problems in
And
America.
loss of identity
Loss of identity.
can lead to
But
depression or loneliness.
right, and I stand by that. I still believe it's true,
I do too.
and you have to plan for this. But the Scandinavian data now is saying, yeah, once you get protected from that isolation, the goal is not to recreate your full work calendar, and that the most people experience the greatest benefit from a less crowded life
Hmm.
with more choice and less daily grind, daily strain. So the difference between being connected and being overcrowded or overconnected.
I see what you're saying.
I think,
I also, though, think it comes down to personality. Some people, I think it depends on the person. Some people need more downtime and alone time, and that does benefit them. Some people need more interconnectedness than others. So I think it can
yeah,
vary.
yeah. I mean, there are people that can't be bored. Like my kids, they can't be bored anymore. Whatever happened to being bored? That's like a sin, Be bored. It's good to be bored, but we
Yeah,
just don't want to go all the
they
way.
can't have nothing to do.
Right.
It
And
drives
and
them
and
nuts.
so I would say you when you're planning, a lot of people plan for the financial things, and this is a financial podcast, but I think the key is get the finances. We talk about money, how much you need. It's not so much how much you need to live, it's how much do you need to be able to have the right amount of interactions without stressing about money. That's the key. So I have some takeaways, Tony, I want to go through. So I want to try and connect these two into one and say, all right, what does it really mean? And revise the key points. First one, you got to audit the obligations that you're taking on. So in the I don't know if you've seen it. I just released a podcast with a retiree. I think he's been retired for 12 years and he's or 7 years, I forget what it was, but he's been retired enough and he came on and one of the points he said it's part of the real retirement stories podcast I have where I interview a bunch of retirees. Watch that one and I think what he said something along the lines of What I do now, Dan, is if someone asks me to do something and I don't see myself being happy doing it, I just say no.
Yeah.
I don't do it out of obligation anymore. I'm at the
Yep.
age where I say no to things.
And that's the benefit of your age, of being older. You can just say no, and you learn as you get older. You say no to more things because you've learned in life is too short, and it's getting shorter for all of us. And so you're just
Hmm.
like, it's like I heard a comedian say, "Man, when I was in my 20s, and somebody'd say, 'Hey, do you want to?' Before they'd finish, I'd be, 'Yep, yep. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.'" And then I think this was Nate Bargatze, the comedian, and then he said,
Hmm.
in my 30s, I started to ask, "Will you drive? Do I have to drive?" And then in my 40s, I'm like, how early will it end? How soon will I be able to leave this event? And,
Right.
and then and then toward my late 40s, I'm just like, no, no, I'm
Right.
busy.
They don't
Nope,
even let them finish the sentence.
nope.
Nope. Do you want to? Nope.
It went from
Yeah. And
agreeing no matter what they wanted to do to when will it be done and will I have to drive to nope.
right. And so the advice is as you retire, it's don't just take everything. Take things that are meaningful to you that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
And then protect against all these you got to protect those high quality connections, right? So your family, your close friends, make sure you're really working on those and connecting, but it's more about depth of connection than the volume of connections. I think that's kind of the takeaway from the Scandinavian study is don't just go out there and do stuff for doing stuff's sake. Have a meaning, right? And
Yeah.
then another tip is to actually live to leave deliberately leave empty space in the
Yes.
schedule. And that's not laziness, just giving you breathing room. And I think that breathing room lets you enjoy life more.
Me
Like I'll
time.
take my dad for an example. And this is a lot of retirees that I interact with. I'll say, "Hey, Dad, how about on Thursday? Let's get together on Thursday." And his response will be, "I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday." And that's the end of the conversation because normally a normal person would say, "What time's your doctor's appointment?" And maybe we'll go before that or after that. But in my dad's world, I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday.
That's a full
Thursday's
day.
done. It's
Thursday's
done.
done. Yeah. If you get one thing on the calendar, I've noticed that with the older people get or in retirement, no matter their age, in retirement, a lot of people are like, what's going on this week? Well, Monday I'm busy. Oh, what's going on? Yeah, I've got a doctor's appointment. Oh, what else? I've got a doctor's appointment Monday. In their mind, that's Monday. That's done.
Right.
Right. So,
And there's nothing wrong with that. I get originally when I was younger, before I was interacting and doing all this stuff with retirees, I'd say that's ridiculous. That is absolutely a ridiculous thing to
right.
say. I got a doctor's appointment.
Right, because
What are
that's
you getting
2
this
hours
open
of your
heart
day.
surgery?
Yeah.
Right.
There's 24
And
hours in a day, that's 2.
right,
What are you gonna do with
right.
the other 22 hours?
But now he's doing it right.
Yeah,
He might be Finnish. We're Polish, but he
yeah,
might be Finnish, right? He's like, this is my breathing room. One thing at a time. The boat's full. Like let's take it
yeah,
easy. So yeah, that is the way to go. That's the way to go. Um, but he has his social connections already, though. It's
sure,
not like he's searching for that, right?
right.
And his social connection isn't the doctor, right? Um, Regarding volunteering, not a bad idea, right? But it's got to be intentional. Don't let it become pressure. Like, oh God, I gotta. If you're looking at your volunteer work and you're like, oh man, I really don't want to go. Why am I doing it? Then stop, right? Life's too short for that. And then to wrap it up, Tony, you got to all visit your financial planning with this in the lens. Again, to
Mhm.
bring it all back to financial, my goal as a retirement planner is to make sure people are living a successful retirement with increasing income and decreasing stress. And the last thing you want to do is feel that you have to plan out your retirement to a T because if things don't go that way, you get stressed or feel like if I don't have that every hour filled, it's going to be stress I'm going to be stressed out. No, it's the opposite. If you have every hour filled, you're stressed. So you
Yes.
got to find this balance. And I
Yep.
think the key to financial planning is make sure that you're financially planning to not have enough. That's a bad way to look at it. Make sure you have the money you need to be able to do the volunteering and the social connections as much as you want to, right? And that you
Or as
have
little
enough
as you want. Yeah.
or as little as you want to, and you have enough for the downtime,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So watch our previous show. I'll put it up, a link up here. Um, a good retirement's going to be connecting with people, but not too much activity. You got to find that balance. You don't want to go down the detachment phase and be depressed, but you don't want to be hyper connected as the Swedes and the Finns are telling us that we should
Right.
not do. So
Yeah.
don't get despondent, don't get detached, don't get overly attached. Watch the two shows, watch the other one, find the balance, find the right mix. I don't think we're wrong, Tony. I just think we tweaked it a little. Thanks to the Scandinavians, and thanks to you for another great show. We'll catch everyone next week.